mean, there were a lot of people who were interested in baseball's nuts and bolts. There was no organized market to sell things to them, to appeal to them. And so no one had any idea how many of those people there actually were.
At this point, probably 10 million people participate in fantasy and rotisserie baseball. They generate over $1 billion to that fantasy baseball industry, and somebody's going to make a fortune. So I decided a long time ago, number one, I like doing it, and number two, I said, why can't it be me? I wasn't getting all the information that I wanted fantasy baseball-wise, so I decided I'll gather the information and disperse it to the public. I founded and run Roto Radio. It's the world's only weekly fantasy and internet radio show broadcast over the internet.
My name is Ron Chandler. I am the publisher of Baseball HQ, Roto HQ, baseballforecaster.com. I write the Baseball Forecaster. You're bringing together some of the top writers and analysts in the industry and putting them in the same room, which John Hunt was the one who started it. Tout Wars just grew off of that. There is a real psychology at the draft, and some owners employ it consistently, some owners don't do it at all. So there's strategies as to where you open your bidding, what players to throw out. First player you throw out is like a Rob Nen or a Mariano Rivera to get a gauge for what the market value of saves are.
19, 20.
Once, twice, $3. Blangino, Finley, $3. Finley going once.
One of the very weird things about baseball fans is how they all like to keep score and keep stats. And I don't think they even watch the game sometimes. I think they just, sit there and do this. And they listen to hear, what might have happened out there. Not much does happen, to be honest, but they're keeping, which is maybe why they get into the stats, And you could argue the stats are kind of more fun, more animated, really, than a lot of baseball games are.
You bring to life characters who mean nothing other than an agate-type line to everybody else in America, and they just mean everything to you.
So every time one of my players hits a home run, that counts as a home run for me. So you get a mix of players, however you decide to create that mix, and that's what the game is. It's basically putting that mix together and coming up with the best statistical team possible.
The game is really, really simple. You sit in a room, you divvy up $260 among a roster of players. At the end of the season, all the players in your team accumulated a history of batting average, home runs, RBIs, stolen bases.
And the pitching categories are wins, saves, earned run average, and what some people now call WHIP, walks and hits per inning pitched. When we started, it was $250 for 22 players. And then in the second or third season, we realized that there were enough extra players in the league that we could expand the rosters. And why don't we have a utility position? It can be a pitcher or it can be an offensive player at any position that you can move around. And then our first book comes out a year or two later with $260, not explaining why $260. And it was as if somebody handed down a tablet from Mount Sinai. 260 is the figure we use.
Most of us were in high school or younger when we started this. And we could not afford to spend $260 just to acquire players and then additional fees on top of that. We basically used pennies where they used dollars. So we used $2.60 to acquire our players on draft day.